then I just saw some water moving, and you see the way the pike attack just by turning suddenly, and I saw the flash of the belly, and I said, wow. Wow.
My good friend Vito Rubino is the warm, cheeky and scrupulously professional angling guide and angling holiday operator behind Italy on the Fly. He delights clients from all around the world in a variety of fishing disciplines, from lure fishing through to fly fishing, taking in mountains, rivers, streams and also lakes and even the sea. Please join me now in conversation with the wonderful Vito Rubino. Vito, welcome on board and welcome to Fishing Discoveries in Conversation with your good self. So how you doing, man?
Well, thank you for having me, and a big hug to all my fellow anglers in UK, USA, all over the world.
Vito, a man of the people.
Yes. You know, I'm missing hugging people, touching people.
It must be very unnatural for the Italian, within you to.
Yes. I have to say that.
Not be able to invade people's personal space,
Yes. Now we are doing this recording. I did several Facebook Live, for example, but it's not the same without having, the person in front of you. That's the toughest thing for me.
Yeah.
During this period, let's say.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. My ambition for these is that we'll take them onto the water and we'll do more of this kind of interview stuff, but whilst we're fishing, so that we can kind of get best of both worlds with those sorts of things.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the experience of fishing, do you have any particularly sort of standout, memorable either fishing stories or experiences that really stand out for you? Either because it changed the way that you saw fishing, or just because of the pure experience of it?
Well, let's say there are several memorable days, and they don't always go according to the size of the fish that you caught, but mostly, as you said, for some inspiration you got out of it. I have to say that, as all the anglers, I got several for the record, for the big guy, and also for a lot of fun, and bloopers that happened and all the crazy things.
Yeah.
So let's say that according to the fishing methods, I like to practice several fishing methods within the fly fishing and also outside. For any of each method, I got a memorable day, let's say. I can recall one day talking about tenkara, in this case, up high in the mountain. That's what I really love. I got a big passion for it. Where I, let's say, found out my personal X approach, especially in the traditional fishing style. You don't invent anything. You just, maybe figure out something on your own, or you come to the same conclusion, like it happened for tenkara in Japan and valsesiana in the northern Italian Alps, for example. You just get to the same conclusion. So it's very difficult to say who invented what, like North Country spiders and all the rest. But I remember that day I was fishing upstream, mostly dead drifting, and any cast I saw an eddy. So there was a perfect eddy on the other side of the current, and I was on my own. I was fishing with friends, but on my own, making my way upstream.
Yeah.
So I still remember like it was yesterday, casting just in a normal dead drift, and nothing happened. Switch position upstream, so to cast downstream, Tomezzuri, so just keeping my kebari, my fly, a bit against the current, making it bounce like a real insect, and one fish. And that day, it was all like this. Dead drift, nothing. Tomezzuri, so keeping the fly against the current, one fish. And that was memorable to me because, like a kid that discovered the hot water, we say in Italy, like you discovered the hot water. Maybe it was something already practiced and blah, blah, blah. But for me, it was like having the evidence, like now I can write 2 volumes about this with all the evidence. I got the proof, that it works. So that was quite a memorable day. I still remember it. Then it's a very difficult question because I got so many memorable days. I mean, I remember fly fishing for pike on a English choke stream on a river test on Yorvis Beat with a good friend of mine. And was the first time for me chasing, those big crocs in UK. Because, when, especially from abroad, you always see choke stream as the pure fly fishing temple, let's say. So the trout, maybe the grayling. So that sort of traditional fly fishing Western style. But slowly, I started to appreciate a lot pike fishing, especially pike on the fly, but not only. And what I discovered, don't get me wrong, but, for me, pike is the real ancestral wild choke stream fish, which does a lot of job, balance the grading population, it cleans everything. So it happened that, like everywhere around the world, the old school thought was, well, pike kill our trout, let's kill the pike. As a sort of, revenge, or trying to balance ourselves what it should be balanced by someone else, which is above us, let's say.
Yeah.
So, well, I was fly fishing for those big creatures, very cold day. And I still remember my pike bunny getting to the other side River Cane. There was a lot of wind, making it through. Then I just saw some water moving. And you see the way the pike attack just by turning suddenly. And I saw the flash of the belly. And I said, wow, wow. So, and, because fly fishing for predators, what is great about fly fishing for predators in general is the strip set. I also do a bit of lure fishing. For me, fishing is one. And every fishing method can open your mind. And you can bring something about a fishing method into another fishing method. So you can learn a lot. But when you set the hook, stripping, so the so-called strip set, you got the line in your hand, you feel the tug, you feel it's great. It's great. I want to go out.
It shakes you down to your boots, doesn't it? I think when you kind of get that
Yes.
that direct connection with the...
It's a real drug. It's a real drug, I think your body gives you a lot of good chemical outside when you got a bit of adrenaline, dopamine, maybe is.
I think both. I think because I think there's a kind of a fight or flight thing going on with predator fishing, but I think dopamine.
There are a lot of bad drugs in this world. There are people gambling, losing all the money. So at least we got a drug, and it's the less harmful. Somehow.
Yeah.
So at least, yes.
Cool.
So,
I'll come back around to some Italian pike fishing in a second, but I wanted to ask you another question first, just to kind of lead people into that a little bit. And that is, there's quite a few anglers within the UK, possibly more widespread around the world, that haven't necessarily considered Italy as like a fishing destination. Perhaps less famous than some of its European neighbours in that respect. But I just wanted to give you a chance, a fair shake of the stick, to sort of indicate to people what they might be missing out on if they consider it not part of the kind of the angling map of the world.
Are you sure? I mean, have you got 2 hours of interview? It always surprised me, to be honest, because coming from Italy, I always took it for granted, right? Like, I know the amount of water we got. We got, Dolomites and Alps, which is the northern Italian range. So you can just imagine the amount of water, crystal clear, pure, freestone, fast-flowing, high-gradient water we have. Then plenty of countries that, I don't know, there are Tuscany countries that it's already a stereotype, right? So that lush green environment and all the rest. Mentioning the coast, miles and miles and miles of coast. But sometimes, it's a matter of marketing. There are other countries which did a great job about destination fishing marketing, let's say, which are our neighbors. For example, Slovenia, Austria as well. So this is a matter of marketing and also water management. I still remember while I was in the UK working at the Orvie store in London. That's where I worked for 4 or 5 years. I don't even remember, maybe 3, but felt like 5 because getting exposed to the people was great. So the pitch, the conversation was almost always the same. Like, where does your accent come from? Because it's not where you come from; it's your accent. So it's pretty British, polite.
Nice, yeah.
So it's Italy. Any good fishing? Because people knows about Slovenia, which is at the border, but don't make the connection that just on the other side of the border. And Slovenia before was Italian.
Yeah.
So plenty of waters, trout fishing there. We got also some very special amount of different species of trout. For example, we got the Marble Trout all over the Alpine Arch with crystal clear water and amazing Dolomites and Alpine scenery. Those breathtaking views. So the Marble Trout, then the Brown Trout, which got introduced in the north. We got our native one, which is the Mediterranean one, or also the so-called zebra, because it has got those stripes. But, to reinforce the strain of the brown trout and to feed, actually, the people, the Austrian emperor did a lot of restocking of the German strain of the brown trout. So that got a lot of ground against the marble trout. I'm not saying that, the population really decreased a lot, but of course we had, the very traditional native ancestral trout of the Alpine Arch is the marble trout. Then plenty of Mediterranean brown trout, brook trout that got introduced from the States several centuries ago, which found the perfect environment. Think about the Rocky Mountain. You came to Italy, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Those kind of incredible high mountain flats, high mountain valleys. Then grayling. We got a huge tradition about grayling fishing as well. And this is just to talk about the northern part. There is the Apennines, which is the mountain range. It's like the backbone of Italy, going from the north almost to the south in the central part of Italy. And the Mediterranean brown trout is the classic stream fish of those waters, let's say. We also got some very special trout, unique in the world, which is the macrostigma trout, which is, let's say, a brown trout, very without any red spot. It's, let's say, a special family. Then we can mention the lake, the natural lake, Carsil Lake, Alpine Lake, or the reservoir. So on the Alpine Lake, you can fish for trout, brook trout, in those great mountain environment. But especially in the central Italian part, there's plenty of pike. And we got our very own special pike, which is the Italic Pike, or the Esox flavia, or Esox cisalpinus, because in Latin cisalpinus is like below the north, let's say, the Alps, which is wonderful, has got a marble texture, is a bit smaller, but be smaller, I mean that, here you can catch a northern pike up to 1.50 meters, so huge. They tend to go over a meter, the Italic Pike, but is slightly smaller, let's say, and it's a bit less aggressive. A bit more picky. It's Italian, it's a bit like, let me see if I like this this fish, if I feel like eating it. So it's a bit less aggressive.
But they're really vivid colours, aren't they? With those, they're just beautiful looking fish. They're amazing.
Yes, it has got, beside the marble texture, an incredible amber, yellowish, greenish shade. It's amazing. It's an amazing fish. And there are still lakes here in central Italy, which you can fish in a mountain environment on Karsic Lake. So you are like, fishing on an alpine lake for trout, but you're fishing for pike. And there are a couple of lakes with just Italic Pike. which is a bit one of a kind. I mean, you don't always make the match between mountain fishing and pike fishing. So you got the surrounding of, very high altitude trekking with the road and backpacking, but fishing for pike, which is pretty unique. Then from the boat, you can fish all the big reservoirs, and you name it. We got also the Welsh catfish, which is now picking up. The asp as well got introduced and spread. I wouldn't say a lot, but there is a good population of asp. So for the predator angler and the trout angler, Italy is absolutely heaven. Not to mention all the other Italian things that have to go with your fishing experience, because I always say, well, you can do the same in other country. Debatable, but after your fishing day, I mean, the Italian food, the Italian wine, and come on. At least Italy is going bad for a lot of things, but at least leave us the food, the wine, and all the Italian culture, the Italian history, site of interest, historical places, you name it.
I got to say, it's really addictive whenever I do get to, fortunate enough to come over and spend time with you. It's just like hanging out with the people afterwards outside of the fishing as well is just fantastic, because they're so warm, they're so friendly. All the cliches are true, about them. The welcome and the passion that people have, particularly around fishing. That there's a lot of people doing a lot of hard work to make these fisheries and these communities actually hang together and work. And
it's a big thing for us.
Yeah. And it's
especially
and the good
in small
anglers
villages.
Well.
Especially in small villages, to show other people how proud we are of what we got, and this kind of old school hospitality. Because it comes from being poor, come from after the war, come from, a poor man culture. Like the cuisine, like all the Italian food, comes from what you got, not to waste anything. There are plenty of huge 5-star Michelin recipes that come from the need of not to waste a single, breadcrumb.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, and it's genuinely addictive. I know when I've been away for too long, because it's like, it really
I'm waiting for you, Paul. I'm waiting for you. Hopefully now we are starting again.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I know, because I mean,
I didn't mention, all the coast and one of a kind, which are the lagoon. Here in Italy, we have some lagoons which are very, very shallow. Think about Venice, for example. Or I got a very special lagoon of my heart, which is in southern Tuscany, very close to Rome, actually, which are basically huge flat, because, the average depth is not even 2 meters average. Then you got some hole, some pool, but, in 2 meters, so it's just topwater fishing, mostly for the big Mediterranean sea bass. Which is good. We like it. So, because you can see the attack of on the top water. So you can see the water just getting bigger and spread among the back of the fish. And then you just realize that it's a take, because it's like fishing on a dry fly, right? I mean, you see the take, the mouth.
Yeah.
When the fish reopened here was a bit before when we reopened in the UK. I went to a special spot from the bank chasing for big pike, but from the bank it was a bit more difficult. I mean, you couldn't move around like you do on a boat. And I was fishing with almost 15-inch fly, those big flies. And I hooked a largemouth bass, because here there are plenty of largemouth we call it black bass.
Yes, yeah.
The largemouth bass. And I still remember the last picture I got about him. I mean, I got a slow motion. Him jumping out of the water, shaking the head with the mouth like this. It was big, because it was very big. And fish on the right, fly on the left.
Yeah.
You see, like a tarpon fishing when they start to jump.
That's it.
So they do it. It happens. Talking about topwater fishing, so you see all those big takes, and it's amazing.
But I think that's going to be a surprise to people, that you've got sea bass, you've got black bass, largemouth bass, you've got the trout, you've got the lowland pike, you've got upland mountain sort of pike. You've got those kind of alpine meadows and everything in
Yes.
between. Just that real cross section of different elevations, right from down at sea level, right the way up to the high mountain environment as well, and all of it's beautiful and lush
Yeah.
and just amazing fishing. So it's just a fantastic
You can do it
place.
all, and you see here I'm not mentioning the open water, blue water stuff like tuna, bluefish, which is just at the river mouth, for example, when it's the right time. Finesse fishing like Japanese edging for cuttlefish, and I mean, you name it, you can really do it all here. You can do it all. It's just a matter of time and coming here, and we'll do it all.
Fantastic. Well, like I said, I can't wait to get back. So tell me, you planning to run some tuna fishing trips? Because I know you've got a boat out there now. So
yes,
tell me a bit about that.
So mostly the boat will be for sea bass. So river mouth.
Yeah.
I got a special project, let's say. I cannot reveal too much, but let's say central Italy is a very historical place on the Tyrrhenian Sea, where Rome is, more or less. So on the river mouth, fishing for sea bass, bluefish, and you can also go upstream and chase the Welsh catfish in one go. We do tuna fishing, but we do it on another boat because, when we go among friends, everything is fine. Even, if you got rescued by the Coastal Guard. No, but I mean, on a fishing trip, there is a lot to take into consideration, also law and, safety. Safety is the first thing to take into consideration. So with this boat, we are going to do basically the inshore and calm water stuff. Then with other boats, we are going to do the tuna as well. But here in Italy, we do two kinds of fishing for tuna. The tuna drifting, which is, a bit more still, with bait, with organic bait, like anchovies and these kind of things, which is a bit deep down and for the big specimen. And this is almost all year round. But there is a very special fishing for tuna we do here in the Adriatic Sea and on the Tyrrhenian Sea. Hold on, I'm talking about the bluefish tuna. I'm talking about the big one. I'm talking about the very big one, which is mostly in autumn and springtime, more or less, which is just top water on a frenzy. So those boats, they don't even have the fish finder. They have the radar because they don't read under the water.
Looking
they
for
read
birds.
The birds.
Yeah.
They read the birds. Of course, you need to know how to use it. But yeah, it's spotting all the frenzy, and maybe it's just 20 minutes of activity, but in those 20 minutes, it's like hell breaking through. So you cast your lure or your fly into the boiling water and
hold on tight.
Hook yourself on the boat and start to fight.
Proper Hemingway stuff, hey?
Yes.
So you're not giving me many excuses to be able to knock this down and sort of say, reasons to not go to Italy. So, the food is amazing. So I can't rule it out on that grounds, And
look, even if you would be a vegetarian, we have great food for vegetarian. So no excuses. If you are, for example, you don't drink alcohol, we got the purest water in the world and a lot of traditional drinks without alcohol. So there is some for all, for sure.
And I love that. I mean, again, so you've got the food, you've got the wine, you've got the great beer, you've got grappa, everything else that we've spoken about.
Amaro, yes.
Yeah. But the kind of the enjoyment of life is kind of like top of the list. So, when we are going fishing in the morning, if we're going getting permits or whatever, nice to, we take 5-10 minutes and have some really nice fresh coffee, really start the day off well, and just sort of pick up a little bit of the info, the local sort of intelligence
Yes.
about what's going on, and
Yes.
who's caught what, who's fishing where. Speak to the guys who look after the kind of the bailiffing and the wardens who kind of patrol and
Yes.
just got the most up-to-date information. So it's just like the perfect recipe for that experience. You kind of get to ramp up that anticipation. You also get to really take part in that local community, and then you've got this stunning sort of surroundings and amazing fishing as well. So it's I certainly can't speak highly enough of it. It's just a phenomenal experience.
Because thank you for what you're saying. For us, it's kind of important because life is tough, it's fast, and we all know about productivity. We all know about doing the best with the time we have. But fishing is another ground, and also the preparation for fishing, for the fishing day, is another kind of field, right? So when you take your time having a coffee, sometimes we just joke by saying, shouldn't we go fishing? Weren't we supposed to go fishing rather than having coffee and a chat? But it's like, taking your time, like when you're fishing, making your way upstream, for example, doing your approach, making sure that you did fish and you did enjoy as well that part of the water you are fishing. I can, describe it as the main difference between the recreational fishing, where you can really take the most out of it, not only in terms of catching, which is important, but also in terms of enjoyment, the breeze, the sound of the water, the color of the water, the insect. There are millions of things that will affect your fishing, actually. So the more you read it, the more observation you'll put in place, the more you will catch. Against, competition fishing, which I really don't mind. I'm not into that, and I got nothing against that, and we learn a lot from competition angler. I got a lot of friends into competition, so this is not to say one is better or the other. But you are fishing to enjoy and to take the most out of it. And to take the most out of it, you need to give it time. You need to spend the time, the right amount of time on the water, on the beach you are fishing, to understand it and to bring it home as well, and to bring it to the next pool. I always do the approach comparison with the pool, because a lot of people are quite familiar with the pool, or pro, or just with a cold, with a couple of friends, just enjoying a bit. But in the pool is the same. It's about putting the ball in the hole, but it's about where you leave your white ball to put the other ball in the hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that takes time. That takes time to enjoy and to observe.
Yeah.
Pretty much like when you stop having a coffee, and all of a sudden I say, "Hey, Paul, how are you?" Those are the moments that I love, because you never have time to do that. Like send me the email and I got the document and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
how are you?
That's it. And just taking the time to stop and literally smell the coffee. There you go. There's a reason these cliches exist. They're true. It's
yes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Same for pizza. You can finish pizza, and I know you do, in 2 minutes. But to have that dough, you have to make it levitate for 48 hours. So that doesn't taste like that.
Yeah.
This needs time. That's what we have to get back. And if my old Italian culture is helping me to take this time back, well, you are all welcome to take this time back. Now I will put another guarantee on the trip: catching fish, or at least we'll try hard, but catching time. That's for sure. Catching time.
Perfect. I think that just captures the experience perfectly. And apologies for mixing my metaphors there, but I think it it definitely carries across that message. And the other thing that I enjoy about it is that how seamlessly, like, family life is. It's part of the fabric of life, like the fishing and the rivers and the valleys and the countryside is, family involvement, and it's just a fantastic thing. People live that experience, and it's a wonderful, like, the change of pace, and also the the focus on the enjoyment and the soaking up of that, just really soaking up the absolute maximum out of the experience is just fantastic.
Fishing in Italy, let's call it recreational fishing, even if it's not the right term, but anyway, fishing with the rod is really into our culture. Everyone knows about recreational fishing, and everyone did it at least once. I don't know a person which didn't even try once.
Yeah.
And it's a very important thing for us. Now the big switch is with the new generation, let's say, trying to translate the old school fishing, which was to sustain the family, to feed the family, actually, also with the rod. Valsesiana, which is the most famous around the world, started for this. It also included a lot of skills, of course, but also enjoyment. Because, sometimes we make them, for me, it's a big mistake to think that what it was just to gather food, it wasn't a passion. Those people were really passionate about fishing beside feeding the family. And it has always been like that, or else they would have put bomb or cement. But it was the most sustainable way of feeding yourself, at least back in the day. And it was so enjoyable. So, feeding didn't go, it wasn't a separate thing from enjoying, from passion.
Yeah.
With the new generation, we are trying to learn and to switch this, to make it more sustainable, let's say. So it's not for feeding the family anymore, thank God, but we got other problems about, the problem all the world has got, like more fishing pressure in general, the river life in general. The agriculture is not the one it used to be centuries ago. So there are several other kind of chemicals inside wherever in the world, even in the most pure place. So what we can do to help the wild stock is by not killing the wild stock, actually. That seems pretty logic, at least, the first thing coming to the mind.
Yeah, you'd think so, right?
Yeah, well, we always joke like to the old generation, because the old generation comes to you. I say, the old skillful angler that would catch fish wherever would tell you, there aren't the fish that used to be anymore in this bit. Of course, you had it all. You had it all. Of course, you killed it all. So that's just a joke. There is still plenty of fish, and the river sustains itself, let's say.
Yeah, I can vouch for that, yeah.
You have to help it, of course, the most you can. So in Italy, there are always more and more and more catch and release bits on the river. So let's say a normal river in Italy is divided between catch and release part, band fishing part, no fishing part, and some catch and kill part as well. So it's work a bit in rotation also with the local communities. In some region, mostly where I run trips, this is a bit more organized, let's say. In some other places, it's still developing around Italy, but that's the trend. And, I am really happy about it. It's an effort. It's making people understand that, because hunger gets stuck on you. So even if you don't need the fish, you cannot release it.
Yeah.
When you're an old generation that lived after the war. So I do understand that it's not easy just to leave some food like this or to waste some food like this. Nowadays, thanks to my grandparents...
There's plenty of people that are, buying toilet roll for lockdown. It's like...
yeah, that's it. You see, so maybe that the same people in 20 years, they won't waste any toilet roll.
Yeah.
Because it was precious to them. This is to say that I don't feel angry them. I do understand it. You have to experience it. I still, I don't waste bread, for example. If I throw bread, I have to kiss it.
Yeah.
Maybe you saw it, John saw it a lot of time. If I got some waste of bread, of course you cannot bean it in yourself, or else, after this lockdown, I'm becoming... But before I throw some bread, I have to kiss it. to remember the importance of that bread, even when I eat. So, and the fish goes together, like, you know, for an old man to release a fish, he would be like, come back here. But it's changing a lot. So it's not like places like Japan, for example, where it's changing, but it's taking more time.
Yeah.
Here we are, it's happening. I mean, catch and release has been active since more than 20 years now, I guess, in Italy. So it's not a new thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that helps.
Absolutely.
That helps.
Well, listen, just before I kind of burst with the kind of the, you know, the desire to actually get back and come and visit you again, and I get far too carried away about that. Just could you let people know where they can get hold of you and where they can find you online and
Of
you know,
course.
where they can find out more about the stuff that we're talking about here?
Absolutely. So first of all, on social media, I am on Facebook and on Instagram. On Instagram, I am Italy on the Fly. And on Facebook, I'm just Vito Rubino with a nickname in the middle. We might talk about that, but you will find me. Let's say that this adventure is under the name of Italy on the Fly, because it's on the fly, but it's also on the fly. But we can use lure as well, if whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I got a website, which is www.italyonthefly.com. And if you want to shoot me an email, it's italyonthefly@gmail.com, or use the form on the website. And so it's very difficult to miss me, I guess.
Perfect. Well, listen, thank you so much for giving us your time and your just the insights into like Italian culture and fishing and everything. And like I say, I'm just salivating to get back and get back over there and start fishing again and to catch up with you as well, because I miss you, Vito.
I miss you too, Paul. I miss you, Paolo. Mi manchi tanto. No, it's true. I mean, thanks for having me. And, you know, in this difficult time, we are all living and we are all on the same boat. At least this is a way to be a bit together, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks a lot for this opportunity. And with all of you here in Italy, whenever you want and whenever this will be all over for us. Because, you know, it's nice to talk. And as you can see, I enjoy talking, but I prefer to be on a bank or on a boat talking to you while we are doing what we love. So
that's it. Well, let's do that as soon as we can. But in the meantime, take care of yourself, Vito, and we'll catch up really soon.
Same to you. Thank you. Thanks again.